Hey, what's up everybody? It's KyFy. I'm glad you could be here. If you are new, welcome. This is a KyFy theory. If you are returning, what's good? I got messages on messages on messages. And before we even get started with that, I thank you for being here. This is going to be a timeless message. I got so much to talk about because during what I wanted to start picking up was the zodiacs. I wanted to try to get some of them specific readings on them to give you an idea what it would be with your specific sign, right? But as I was getting those out, I was writing and I kept writing and I was trying not to talk about these things. So there's something that you're keeping secret that you're waiting to expose to the world. But don't wait too long, because time is of the essence. But as soon as you make the decision, the time will be available to you. So the decision has to be made. You got to make a decision. You got to know that you have it, experience it in your mind, and call it to you. Yeah, if you like this content, like, share, and subscribe, and send it to your favorite reader, because this is going to be an app for the whole spiritual community. So imagine your favorite reader in my position, drawing cards and talking about them with this structure. This is going to be known as the masculine approach to tarot in general. So with all that said and done, let's get to these messages. So if the title is this, I'm not even sure what it's going to be. But the first message is returning to the temple, the journey back, right? I had a reading before, and before I actually started getting exposure, it was talking about Temple Run. We played that game. You can even call it Subway Surfer, right? But essentially, the gorilla in the back or the policeman that's chasing you is your spirit. And you are running away from your spirit because you took something from the place that it started from. So in Temple Run, it's easier to understand because he was in a temple. You see him running out, right? And then you see that gorilla, whatever, chasing him. And if you make mistakes, the gorilla catches you. But that's you running away from your purpose. And we do such a good job at it. And in our ego, we say, oh, this is the fantasy. This is supposed to be what's happening. So it's misguided. Actually going back to where your temple is, to where your selfness lies, is where the key is. So they always say the answer is always within. Yeah, your selfness, who you are, who you actually are, your specific identity, the identity of your spirit. So it's about to get crazy, but just roll with me. So you know how there's a saying that, not a saying, but every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? That's within physics in general, right? But every trauma requires an equal or emotional event to fix it. So if you went through some kind of trauma as a young person, you need to go through an event of equal energetic value to understand it from either your perspective or the other perspective of the person in charge of that trauma. So you were going to relive the trauma, or you're going to relive the trauma in the inverted sense of the person that was doing it to you, or the events that were doing it to you. So you will experience being the perpetrator and the victim. Basically, the reason why that's hard for even me to talk about is because imagine the traumas that you've been through as a young person. There was no explaining anything, and you didn't know much of anything. You didn't know you didn't know any type of psychology to even figure it out. Oh, this is this emotion, and I feel this because of this. So there was no figuring it out. It was just, I was living through it, you know? That's what it was. You were living through it. So coming to a sense that you are experiencing being that person that was doing it to you, you one day take a step back and you say, whoa, I'm not this person. I remember when I was the person, I was just doing that too. And then that recollection, that revelation immediately changes you. And it's like the epiphany that you have, and it says, I'm not going to be that person that did that to me anymore. I recognize what it was. I recognize why that person did it to me, because you are in that perspective now. So it's like sometimes the only cure to ignorance is, I don't even know, like the experiencing it exactly the opposite way. That's like the only cure to some people. So I admit that I have some things that I'm ignorant with, and when I went through it in inverted ways, I was like, whoa, I'm never gonna be this way, because I remember when I was in this person's shoes, right? Crazy. And sometimes that's the only way to figure it out. But the next part of the so the next message was, the mirror is fully recognized. At that point where you recognize what's happening to the person that you did it to, or it's happening to you again, and now you have more of a vocabulary to narrate it and to dissect it, and what could have been the cause and problem, this and that, the items in the frustration in general. Now you're an adult and you can get past it again, or you can back away from doing it to that person again, or now. You know what I mean? So yeah. But this is the thing. As light beings, we are designed for a specific mission in this world. Some of the heaviest and densest energies require our skill and talent to alchemize from lead to gold, in a sense, or at least plant the seed so it could become gold, right? So we are skilled and we are chosen to do this because you can, and because karma and things like that, you will operate in a certain way. There's not an obligation, because you can do whatever you want in your life, but there's a sort of sense of doing right from wrong. You kind of just go with the challenge of it. But you are sent here, for a challenge. You decided to be here. It's my belief that we all decided to be here. So, according to everything that you've been through, how is that even possible? Why did I choose to be here? And just thinking of it from an opposite perspective, you can start to fill in those pieces. So, the next message is, you can't change a self. You can only manage or control the self, right? So managing a self is love. Controlling the self is force. So any person that you are trying to control, you're trying to force them into a position that might not be for them. If they actually conform to that position, eventually it will, the puzzle piece will show itself that it didn't fit in the first place. So, right? But if you manage it, you'll go from the outline of the true self of the person, and eventually they will grow into that outline because you see their potential, right? You love them enough to let them go through their own trial to get to the same point that you knew they were going to be. But it requires, like I said, light beings who know how to take that dense energy, that lead, to make it gold. We alchemize it. We are the alchemists. And that's why so many people come around us to get this energy. I don't even need to say it anymore. That's why you're attracted to the negative. That's why the negative is attracted to you. Because deep down within themselves, they need a seed. They need a seed of abundance. So they come and steal it, or you give it to them. Everybody wants to elevate, and the soul, everybody's soul wants to ascend. Yeah, I almost forgot the word. Yeah. So this next part was so important to me that I really had to think about it before I even came to talk about it, right? It was for like a half hour. I was talking about it, I was laughing and all that. So when I say the mind, the body, the soul, and the spirit, what do you think of? All right. So lock that in. Lock that definition that you have in. So I'm going to present to you what was shown to me through a download, right? So do not say mind, body, soul, and spirit anymore. Understand it as, and this is exactly how you say it, the space within the shell of the mind, the space within the shell of the body, the space within the shell of the soul, yada yada, the spirit, right? So you have to understand it is the space within. So this right here is the space within the soul, the spirit, the mind, and the body. But when it comes up to spaces within your soul, right, your perception of who you actually are is this circle right here. So these spaces require elements, fire, air, water, earth, ether, to operate, right? They require these elements to operate. And these elements come from us, our creation, because that's where everything comes from, right? Like our crown chakra, it comes from that creation. That's where the elements, you know, the as above elements come from. The so below elements we see in front of us, right? So that's very important, because the next message, I'm about to counter everybody's knowledge really quickly. I'm about to come at everybody's knowledge. You think you are smart, you know a lot, right? Cool. And they say knowledge is power. There's something extra to that saying, and I'm gonna present it right now. This is a download. Knowledge is experience points, not power. Right? So knowledge is experience points, not power. We go to school to get experience points to put to skills that we use in this world. So let's just say I eventually will run a business, and actually I own one, but I know how to use Excel, and I have been using the skill, the knowledge of Excel as a power to power my ambition. So I use those experience points and I put it to a skill that I have within me to power it, to power what I want to bring into this world. So you have to understand what is the knowledge that you have that you can implement to a skill that you have. It doesn't matter how low level of the skill that you think it is. If you have never worked out before, the knowledge that you have behind working out or losing weight or whatever is high and abundant. So it's not like you do not know how to do it. So what's the problem? You have to put it to the experience points. What ways in your own little methods? This goes all around the body, mind, soul, and spirit. So it translates everywhere. But I'm talking about exercising right now. So in what ways do you think that you get your little bit of exercise that you can say, I'm going to put my little bit of knowledge in this and say, during this time or before this time, I'm not going to eat or something. I don't know. I'm not going to eat crap before I get to that point when I do that little exercise that I do. And eventually, using all of the knowledge that you can for that, I understand that it could be like, oh, I squat 7 times a day to get up out of a chair, right? What happens if you have perfect form in those squats every day? It literally helps. It literally helps. It's just the little things that you can do to make it better. So what are the little things, the little skills that you have that you can use your knowledge and put it to the test with, put it to experiment with it? Okay, yeah, what can you use? So knowledge is not power. Knowledge is the prerequisite to power. Knowledge powers skills. Knowledge is the fuel for your skills that give you power. I know I got a lot of messages, but I think this is the last one. So the ego is right here in this little triangle right here. The ego is not the mind. Now I'm going to say this in reverse. The spirit, so you have the mind and the spirit, right? Opposites, you know, masculine, feminine. The spirit is not the id. So you have the id and the ego, right? So you have the id, ego, superconscious, right? They are not the same entity, function, process. They're not the same. So how do they connect and relate and not use each other, but operate with each other? This is how. Within your soul space, your persona, this circle right here, uses your ego or your selfness. So that's your consciousness or your selfness, right? In tandem with the chakras, the energy that comes out of your light, right? That's the as above elements that we use with the will and the id and the ego, right? Keep up. I'm sorry. This is not easy. I'm trying to keep it. Or actually, let me continue. The id gets instruction from you, the crown chakra, right? It gets instruction from you to use some of its elements within your ether or your persona, your everything, right? Your body, mind, soul, and spirit. It gets those instructions, right, from you. What you need and what you want, what you supply and what you demand. It says, okay, I demand to use emotion for a purpose, right? That's the conversation that your id has with your spirit. So your selfness has with your spirit. I really hope I'm describing this correctly. I really hope I'm doing this correctly. So your ego says, when they get the instructions on what you want and what you need to supply, it says, I can do a certain amount of things because I'm going to use the power of the soul to get the mind to tell me what the plan is, right? And I'm going to use my will to get it done through the manifestations that came out from what the spirit and the selfness did already. I think I said it properly. Basically, what I hope that did was expand your sense of who you are in your mind. Like, this is your mind. So I want you to understand what I'm going to be putting the cards down for. So, yeah. That was very important to understand. But let's move on to the walkthrough real quick. I want to talk about what the Zin-Finity Board is. The Zin-Finity Board is an elementally energetic grid that flows on the 21-part circuit, housing all aspects of the mind in a still life version. So anything that you can think of is within this circle right here. I promise you, right? There's 2 cards that are outside of it, but it only represents Y. But anything that you can possibly think of is here. So it's up to us to make it clear. Right. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe if you're interested in this content, but we're going to move on. What does that really mean? There's a circuit, meaning 1 through 21, right? And when I finish that circuit, what happens is the energy from the crown, from your superconscious, is not source. And that's another thing I forgot. So I'm going to move on. But your superconscious, your crown chakra, it comes from there down to the root, and then it goes back up. So it's like a circulation going. Once I get the energy down to the root, it's up to you to do what you want with it. You have all the information and the possibilities of all the scenarios that we're going to go through today. But yeah, and before I get started, the superconscious, so the soul that we always refer to, is not the source. The source is outside of this circle, right? The soul that we refer to as our soul, right, has its own identity also. So that's our own individual soul that's a part of the source that came down from the source. So it's like pieces, right? It's our own ID of soul. We have our own ID of spirit. Now, this is what I think is always new every time we come back down to this earth. There's always a new ego. There's always a new ego. Why? Because I believe the spirit is everlasting, but the mind goes. Because, you know, we are spiritual beings. Like, you can, yeah, okay. But that was the last message. Well, that was a part of it, but yeah, okay. So before I get started with the reading, basically think of a number from 5 through 50. This is the lucky draw, and it's also about resonance. So basically, the number that you pick is the number that I'm gonna draw out, and whatever it is, it tells you how accurate this should be to you, and it also gives you the numbers for like whatever you need to do, whatever confirmations that you need. So here we go. So for ether, we have 10. For air, we have 7. For fire, we have 4. For water, we have 19. And for earth, we have 2. So that's 42. So if you guess the number 42, this is for you. Or 6. How about that? Just save somebody right now. Yeah. Alright, so for the first part of the reading, this is Ayin. And it starts off with this. Every one of these black cards is a perspective, and it has a tag to it. So this is I know, I be, I want, I need, I will, I desire, I love, I do or act, right? I feel, and I am. Those are the 10 perspectives that you can have in your mind. Nothing can escape that, right? So that's what I mean by everything is here. So after that, we have the energies at play, which also gives you the setting, which is who, what, when, where, and why. Who is the world of emanation? What is the world of manifestation? When is the world of formation? Where is the world of creation? And why is source, right? That's where you get the biggest answers from. The biggest why can only be answered by source. And yeah. So moving on to the first one, we have the Knight of Wands, which is in the place of I know, and this is on suit. So what does that mean, on suit? Every one of these places is elementally energetic. Fire, air, water, earth. These two, fire and air. That means that this one should be fire or air, and it is. So that means it's good. So your information, what you know, your knowledge is prime, is perfect, and you're willing to use it. That's just a willingness to use it. So let's get the Knight of Wands real quick. Action, adventure, and fearlessness. So it says fearlessness. That's with your knowledge. If you applied your knowledge, you would be fearless. But here, where it says I am, this is the root chakra, right? The place of fear. This is off suit. So you are in fear because you are emotional about something to be manifested from you. You are emotional. It's an emotional process to get it here, and somehow it's like, you know, if you water a seed too much, it won't grow, right? If you water it too much, it won't grow. It's different placing it in the water and letting it germinate in that way, but it's different that way. But maybe it's a different type of process that you need to manifest. Maybe you manifest through emotions instead of physical things. So yeah, the next energy is I be. Now this is the throat chakra. The throat chakra has 3 pieces. This is the experience, this is the ebb, and this is the flow, right? So that was the throat chakra. This is what crowns the reading, the crown chakra. This is the 9 of Pentacles. Doesn't matter what this is, but it could be fire, right? It should be fire because that's soul energy, right? but it's not, it's earth, and it really doesn't matter. That just means that being yourself would actually fix this issue should it come down to it. Your soul, your person, the person that you want to be, the person that you are becoming, fixes this issue by itself. And it's so abundant in this position. It's almost like this is why you know it's about to change. You know the change is coming soon. So this is a exciting position to be, but also really high like in anxiety, because when you think about time, it doesn't work for you. Because it's called the observer effect in quantum physics. But our conscious eye looking at something stops its movement. It defines it as one thing. Like, it makes it absolute instead of like infinite. I don't know how to explain it from there. So this is the double slit experiment that I'm talking about, and why that makes sense. So if you can understand that, look it up. That's like kind of over there, but my mind, let's get back. If that was for you, that was for you. Leave a comment, because I want to talk about that. So let's get the Nine of Pentacles. Fruits of labor, reckless spending, and rewards. Now, this is reckless spending on yourself, and that's full energy. It didn't come up, but the star did. But that full energy that I'm seeing right now is reckless on yourself. You're going so out of pattern, you look reckless to your enemies, and that's unstable. You were stable before, being so tame, right? But now you're doing reckless things for yourself, abundance, and that's making them nervous. So yeah. Next up is I want, which is in the third eye, which is actually two chakras, right? The light side of the third eye is the soul star, and the dark side of the third eye is the earth star. So look at those two chakras, right? So let's get the Knight of Cups. This is offsuit. So let's get this. Following the heart, idealistic and romantic. Right. You're not supposed to follow the heart. You are. Let me explain this differently. You're not supposed to follow the heart. You express the heart, and it expands the heart. So that's what gives you the space for your abundance. You express yourself, and it's almost like you're a balloon and blowing yourself up. So that's what that means. But instead of following your heart, you thinking your heart is your mind. This emotion that's over here is where your path is. It's floody. It has a lot of water to cross. Imagine you are a land creature and you gotta cross some water. You gotta build the boat here. The next thing you know, you gotta walk on land. You can't bring the boat with you. The next thing you know, there's another thing. Then you gotta walk back and get the boat that you had before, bring it over on land to get across another one. And this process happens over and over and over because there's a lot of water in the way. Now imagine this is how it's happening when in regards to your emotions. Something good happens, then something bad happens. Something good happens, and something bad happens. You don't, and you keep changing the way you go. You're changing your route because of the emotions, and that's why it's not supposed to be there. Ahead of a heart decision goes as follows. The mind is supposed to operate like a calculator. This plus this equals this. So you tell it what you want, and it gives you a plan. That's it. There's nothing else that the mind needs to do at that point, right? Just follow the plan. But what's happening is literally water here, so it's raining. Now there has to be recalculation after recalculation. This place is flooded. This place is not flooded. You can understand what's happening. There's a lot going on within you which you're traveling. Imagine if it was a plane and it's a storm. You gotta wait. You just gotta wait. So yeah, that's I want. I need is on suit, but it's reverse. So let's get this. Ace of Cups. New emotional loss, blocked creativity, and emptiness. Now, you want it to end already. You're tired of it. You want it to end already. That's what this means. And that's a good position to be, because you are in the position of having let go. Your hands are not holding on anymore, but it's still here. It's still magnetic to you. Your heart is still holding it, right? Your identity, your selfness still wants it, but you've honestly let it go. So it's up to the spirit, right, to push it away or bring it closer to you in the right way it should be. Like, let's just say if it just needed to be corrected like this, that's what should happen. But you had to let go first. You had to let go in order for it to be corrected, right? But that's two scenarios that I just brought up. But yeah, next up is I will. And this is in the place of, well, this is the Three of Cups, and this is off suit. So what you will and where you're going is clouded with emotion. Let's get the Three Cups. Friendship, community, and happiness. Believing that you need anything besides yourself to do the thing, right? It's false, because it comes out of you. It innately comes out of you. And when you believe it, it's attracted to you. So it's about faith and belief. The next up is I desire, and this is the star. This is air energy, is on suit, which is good. It's reversed. Just let's see. Hope, insecurity, discouragement, and faithlessness. And this is, I literally just said faith, and this says faithlessness. Now, obviously, well, to me, that I need to redescribe what faith is. Not everybody knows. What is the description of faith? Faith is the belief of the substance of what's hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, right? That's what they say faith is. So what does that really mean? You're believing in nothing, nowhere, and nobody. So that's the tags of God. Literally, that's what that means. If you have faith, you're believing in nothing, nowhere, and nobody will come through. It's nowhere. It will come from nowhere. You believe that. It will be here. I don't know where it's going to come from. I don't know. Leave it up to God. I don't care where it comes from. Well, you do care, but you know God knows what you need. So that's the door open for God into your life, because you believe in nothing. You're allowing nothing to take place. And that's, abstinence from things. Where you abstain from things. You have nothing. You actually have everything in potential. So, yeah. God is nothing, nowhere, nobody, no one. The number one. This is why God is number one. So I said it backwards, so let me say it forwards. If you believe God is number one, then you believe God is no one. N-O.1, right? No one, nowhere, nobody, no thing. This is what God gave me. So there you go. Have faith in nothing. It's right there. And anytime, I'm gonna piss you off now. Trigger warning. Not really. But anytime that you believe you have nothing, I have nothing, nobody wants to be next to me, I can't get nothing, I don't have nothing, I ain't got no money, nothing. If you would acknowledge it, all that potential would come into you, right? Oh, you want me to see you work, God. I will accept that I have nothing and see you work, and you'll see God move in your life, and all that potential, depending on how long you've been waiting, or how much of it's time for you, depending on if it's your time or not. You'll see the tidal wave or the stream just come out of nowhere. So yeah, that was desire. Next up is I love, and this is the Page of Swords. This is on suit. So let's get this. Curiosity, restlessness, and mental energy. Now, the curiosity is perfect here. You're curious to see what you can do, what you are, who you could become. And that's perfect. And you're willing to fight for it. So this is the first level of fighting. So it doesn't look like you have stability yet. So this is why you're just looking around like, I don't know what's here. Whatever that's coming to me right now is about to get hit. You better announce yourself. Announce yourself means you better be good energy, and you better present yourself as good energy, or you getting cut. That's the position that you're in right now. But you can knock your blessings away too. So you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And that's frustrating too, because how do I defend myself? How do I set up the boundaries before the crap happens? You don't. They come to the door, they knock, they come to the room, you have a visit, and then you discern and decide if you want that in your life or not. That's what you have to do. That's the only way to know. You have to be willing to go through that process. Everything that you know that can happen, you say, I believe in God. I believe that none of those things will happen. And let's see what new will be presented to me. Alright? Yeah. So moving on from there, you have the Queen of Cups. There's a lot of emotions going on. A lot of out of control, out of place emotions. Not out of control. Out of place emotions. So Queen of Cups. Compassion, calm, and comfort. There's the comfort word. We are not put here to be comfortable. If you are a light being, if you have been chosen, it kind of sucks at times, but you are eternally blessed for it. But comfortability is not your place anymore. There's a lot of work for you to do, and you're blessed continuously for it when you put that work in. So if you decide to say, I deserve something, you don't realize that you were supposed to be pushed to a certain place and to do a certain thing. So it's not about what you deserve, it's the ability that you have and what you can do. And there's somebody that needs help, or there's a blessing to be had, or there's movement to be had, and you're in your emotion and it's stopping the flow. Then you can't get anything started. So it went from there to I feel, and this is the Six of Swords reversed, and it's off suit. Right? So let's get this. So let me explain this real quick. When it's reversed, I take it as the opposite element, which means that it would be like this here, which means it's a good thing. But this recognizes as water, but it's not. It's just the way I do it. Six of Swords. Emotional baggage, unresolved issues, and resisting transition. Now, that's the problem. The resistance to the transition, the letting go part. You are magnetically attracted to it still. There are hands that you don't realize that are still holding on. So even though you're doing the physical things to let them go, there's a spiritual hands that you have to let go too. And you have to allow not the consequences, the effects to happen. You have to allow, out of the abundance of things and possible bad things that can happen, you have to allow it to say, you know what? This needs to happen, and I won't let the devil keep me in this place. Right. So I went from there to the Page of Cups when I said your fear was here, even though you said you're fearless with your knowledge. You've learned so much and it's perfect. It's pure potential, but it's still potential, right? And this is the main reason why. Well, this is the last reason why. So Page of Cups. Happy surprise, dreamer, and sensitivity. Now, you're emotional and won't do things, won't get things started because not the dream, the fantasy that your ego believed in. So the ego cannot see the dream. Only your selfness knows the dream, but you can't talk to yourself and exactly figure out the dream. You understand that? Talking to yourself is not, you're not crazy. If you've been doing that, if you stop doing that, you should start. Put some headphones on. They'll never know. They'll never know. Personal experience. Oh God. So yeah. But the ego does not know the dream. It only knows the fantasy, and you have to give up the fantasies for the dream that can flow into position. But other things can take the place of it. So you have to be weary, but also allow and not cut everything out before it gets to you. You know, God is gonna try to trick you and like juke you, but you good at this defending now. So you're gonna cut the blessing from you. So you understand what I mean? Alright. So the next part of the reading is Soph. Now, what does this entail? Who, what, when, where, and why the situation. It creates the setting and ties everything that you know to what possibly could be regarding the energies. So starting off with who, which is in the world of emanation, which is your imagination, right? I want you to say rockstar without saying rockstar in your mind. 3, 2, 1. That's your emanation. That's your soul. There you go. Right? So your soul knows who, and it's a new start is coming, the new moon. So let's get this. So a new start is on its way. You will soon start to feel more hopeful about getting what you want. Your belief that your dreams can manifest is working well. Forget about the past. So if these things triggered a who in your imagination, that's who you're talking about. That's who this is about. But who is not definitely people. It's a noun, person, place, or thing. That can be who. It could be a car, because everything is conscious. You give it life, right? You can have conscious shoes, your favorite shoes. You understand why every time you put those shoes on, some good things happen, because it's conscious. What's good, shoes? What's good? We outside. You can understand everything you give power to is conscious. So yeah, that's who. What is in the world of manifestation. So this is step out of your comfort zone. The North Node. So you are headed for something which feels like destiny. You need to face fear and get over it. That's kind of harsh, but getting over it is the point. You got to get over it. Don't let it get over you. Time to stop obsessing about someone or something. Stand on your own 2 feet. You've got this. Now, it says stand on your own 2 feet, and that's in the physical place, right? The world of manifestation. What is a manifestation? So you have a manna and an infestation, right? So think about it as a gestation. You have, the sperm impregnates the cell, right? The egg, sorry. But just understand that your emanation is that sperm, and the spirit are the eggs. So the eggs are the creation. What you, with your mind, with your spirit, right? Because the thinking goes both ways. What you create out of what you imagine, right? So once you create it, you write it down, you figure it out, and then it has a certain energy behind it according to how good you registered it from the soul. Then it goes to that seed and gets implanted within your physical body. So just call it the earth that you occupy. Now, in order to keep this earth fertile and enough, you have to have mental strength, and that's what the strength card is all about. So it's strength of manifestations, keeping the boundaries up. The boundaries are like the cell wall of that egg, right? And as you do the things, doing the things meaning nurturing, right? You have to physically do that. You eat, you do this, yada yada, right? And then that baby of an idea comes out finally into something that you can see, touch, and feel, and then you can sometimes it's a piece of paper that goes away, right? But the idea is here, and now you have that new method, right? The method is here. So that new method that came out from all of this whole process was how your mind is working. And that's what a manifestation is. So when this is in the mind, a time to give rather than take. Now, already I'm thinking about selfishness, right? Not selfness, selfishness. Now, if you're holding a lot of emotion in, you have all the water, right, required of your spirit, not your id, your spirit, to create that seed of manifestation. So that's bottled up emotions and energy and keeping it to yourself and holding it in and not finding a place to release it properly, right? That's what that means. When you release it, you give it up. You're giving it up to your soul. Release it to your spirit. Your spirit will handle that energy because it goes straight to potential. That's what happens when your emotions are handled or released. It goes to potential. Now, thank you, God, because I didn't even write it. We are all being duped by social media, not for the things that you're thinking about. The potential energy that is released with a good laugh is not potential anymore. So if you go through something that's rough and it's like it was something that put you in high emotional state that could go to potential, you watch social media, right? Instead of giving it to your spirit to fix the problem, you watch social media and you release it to what? The ether. Just let it go. Just give it to the things that were siphoning out of the ether, the spirits in the air, the principalities, these things, those things. You're just giving it to them. They eating it off of you, right? And y'all know what I mean by that. They're eating off of us. Yeah. Give it to your spirit, give it to your soul. Those are the two things you give that emotion to. Giving it to your soul is about passionate work. Giving it to your spirit is about getting to know your true desire. Getting to know who you are. So getting to know who you are and being and becoming that person. So those are the two things your id does. So let's go to where, which is in the spirit, right? This is a personal issue, reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer. So, meditate to soothe heightened emotions. I just talked about how to release the energy. So that's one way, meditation. Other ways are dancing. Some people do drinking, right? Now the problem with drinking, everything in this world is neutral. You are the thing that sways it left to right. Everything in this world is neutral. So I formally disagree about what alcohol and things like that and all things that push you out of your true consciousness does. It puts you to the place, your level. So if you are a highly spiritual being, right, and you get drunk, I believe that you are going to do some of the most damnedest things, but nobody gets hurt, everybody laughs, everybody has a great time. If you are hiding the fact that you are in pain and things like that and you haven't dealt with it, you could look like you're good and you drink and everything goes left because those things aren't handled. Now I think that happens with everything, but everything can be an addiction, right? You're addicted to doing certain things to get the energy released. So even in this negative experience, when it goes left, the energy is being released. And who's eating it? People and the entities. So yeah. Now for the most important question is why. So I'm gonna go from the bottom up. The first one was a win-win outcome is forecast, full moon in Libra, right? So, see the other person through the eyes of love. It would change your perspective. It is time for you to make a firm decision. Time for you to focus on yourself for a while. Look after yourself, but avoid vanity. Now is a great time for a makeover. So we already kind of talked about the makeover portion of it, but see the other person through the eyes of love. What is love? What is love? What is love? What is love? So basically, love is movement. And what kind of movement? This energy that comes from the soul is not just imagination. It's actually power. Power through movement and moving things. Movement of the body. What you're going to do with your body, mind, soul, and spirit. That's where the love goes. If your love is all the way in the physical, you're probably eating. You know what I mean? Like, if your love is in the creative, you're probably like journaling or painting or something like that. If it were your love is in your mind, you're planning things out or you're working or something like that. And that doesn't mean that you're doing what you love. You have to see the difference of that. Doing what you love is different than the love required for the action. The love is the power. So this is going to be my long-standing example. I give you flowers and it moves you, right? You know that expression, that term? It moves you. It gives you potential to give that energy back to me, hopefully in a good manner, right? That's what it did. That's what we call love. Is the like, it's weird. We're not putting it where it belongs. So this is why it's so misconstrued. Like, oh, I thought you loved me. You don't see me moving for you. It doesn't come out in the way that we say love comes out. And they also talk about love languages, right? How are you moving for that person? What are you doing with your energy for that person? That's what that means. How are you loving this person? And if you want this person for yourself, this is why your spirit can't get a hold of it and let it go for something else. Can't give it to something else. Yeah. So the next one was for why was hold your vision, and this is the fixed moon. So staying power, faith or patience are needed. Someone needs to back down. Avoid stagnation. A personal or professional relationship will be enduring. Right. It said a personal. So personal is either people or your selfness, right? Because that's you communicating and submitting to your spirit. So your ego is supposed to submit to the mind. Your spirit is supposed to, your selfness, your id, is supposed to submit to your spirit. I said that wrong. Sorry. I said that wrong. Your ego is supposed to submit to your spirit. Your selfness is supposed to submit to your mind. So this way, both energies are being balanced by the divine counterpart. As above. Thank you. I said it wrong before. I had to say it right. Thank God. Alright. So that was Soph. The next part is or. Now what is or? You see these cards that are off to the right? That means that they were off suit. And I was talking about it before. So what we gotta do is fix that. With these cards, I'm going to draw it like goldfish, and basically I'm going to try to get the element that's supposed to be there, and it'll show why this energy is off. So give me one moment to get these cards down right about now. Alright, so you have quick major changes coming in, and the reason why I say major is because at the end 3 major arcana cards came out that I was just like, okay, the strength card came out, the moon card came out, the hermit card came out, and before that, the hangman came out. So a lot of majors was coming out, and it was just talking to me at the moment. So yeah, let's get this. So the first card that was offsuit was I Want, and this is the light side of the third eye, which is the soul star. This is your soul star energy. And it started with the Knight of Cups. I told you about all the floods that you have to get past in order to go to your destination, right? Recalculating and all this other stuff. And went from there to the Queen of Pentacles reverse. And this is on suit now, so let's get it. This is self-centeredness, jealousy, and smothering. If you are jealous of what yourself has to offer yourself next. So that means that your ego is enticed by the dream. Even though you don't really understand it. It's like, I'm not going to let nobody take this from me, even though I don't understand it. But what is it, God? So it's like you defending something that you can't see, and it's like you still won't let nobody touch it. It's a strange place, because they don't even know what they're after. Neither do you. And you're like, get away from it. But you can't see it. But you just know how to defend it. It's a curious place to be. And that's good. So this is like finding that log that went over that flood. Every time you just knew where to go, where to look. You was like, oh, just go right there. No matter what the attack was, no matter what the delay was, you had an alternate plan. It's like, yeah. So that fixes that energy. The next energy that was off suit was I Will. That was I Want. This is I Will. So this is how you get it. This is where you're going. This is how you get it. It started off with the 3 of Cups and went to the Hangman, major arcana. All major arcana cards are love cards. And let's get the Hangman. Sacrifice, release, and martyrdom. So I like to talk about the martyr, because the old you that died, the old you that went through the resurrection, right? That one is the martyr. But you know how Martin Luther King is a martyr, and you see how we push that. That's the regret. It's like the something that you stand on. There's something that you can stand on now that you've been through. There's something that you can stand on now. Yeah. So even though it is still emotional, once those emotions settle, once you find a way to balance those emotions, that's when you have the settlement. And when that happens, it goes to 10 of Wands. So this is accomplishment, responsibility, and burden. Taking up your own burdens. Being able to, and not allowing other people to manipulate you so they can fix it for you. There's a strength in that. So speaking of strength, what these cards mean is time and energy required in order to fix the issue. So it's not that much time required, and this is why I said quick changes. It's only a few things that you need to really relook and look over and wait for, but you don't even know you need to wait for it, because you don't even know what it is yet. So you're not waiting for those specific things. That's in the background. You don't even see it. But when it's time to, it's almost like you were just about to cross the street, the green light happened, and next thing you know, somebody with a unicycle came out of nowhere. And you would have never saw it unless God put you in that position. Now I want to ride a unicycle. How can I do that? Like now you're inspired for a release, a place that you can release. That looks fun. And you can follow the fun, because your inner child wants to have fun. If your inner child wants to have fun, it's giving it up to the spirit. So yeah. Moving on from there, we have I do and I act, right? Now, it started off, this is the solar plexus, where it started off with the water energy. You can't get nothing started. And went from there, that was the Queen of Cups. It went from there to the 8 of Wands. So let's get this. This is rapid action, movement, and quick decisions. Once you are willing to take up your own burdens, it's almost like you are holding up or the floodgates are open. Like you can hold the floodgates open. Like you had to lift something up for the water to come out, but you have enough strength to do that now. When you do that, you have quick actions, not because you think it's about to stop, not because of a fear anymore. Because the hermit here, we don't have fear no more. Not because of fear. It's a different issue. It's not an issue. It's a different thing. Alright, so the next one up was I feel, and it started off with the Six of Swords reverse. And right now it just came to me, you're not using your mind to get over the emotions. So air and water are parallel, which means they take place of each other, but they don't interact, right? So if you think more, you emote less. If you emote more, you think less. It's just one of the other that's happening. So you have to think more over these emotions, and you will emote less. Not become emotionless. You will release the energy in a negative way less. Because you have strength. And I just mentioned the strength of manifestation, right? So let's get this. So bravery, compassion, focus, and inner strength. Now, the inner strength is with the selfness. So knowing yourself and believing in yourself and getting a little piece of evidence that yourself believes in you too, right? That's where the strength comes. That's when the unity ignites. That's when you have a partnership and a connection. It's like, oh, you are a thing outside of me that I'm... Okay. Imagine you have another you that's on the opposite side, can't see him, can't talk to them with English, but they have Morse code through your body, and you have feelings and all these other gut feelings and things like that to point you to the right direction. So that's where the Morse code comes in. So the strength of you believing in that random process is like, you don't exactly know what the goal is, but your spirit does. Your selfness found out from the spirit. So yeah, it went from there to the moon card that fixed the energy. So let's see the moon. And before I even say that, your side is the sacral chakra, right? And it's the home, the foundation, and the moon energy, right? So the moon came up over its own energy. Your own foundation. The burdens are being held by you, but they're not burdens anymore because they've become your foundation. When this information was revealed to you, or when it will be revealed to you, those things will happen. So the moon, unconscious illusions, intuition, and fantasy. You are becoming not overconscious of the emotions. You are becoming conscious of it. You're saying, this is envy I feel because I don't have this person anymore. This is hate that I feel because that person doesn't like me anymore. This is, but it's not reacting to it. It's acknowledging that this is what it is. And this, imagine there's an entity that's coming to you with, oh, he should be feeling hate right now. So let me just use my Kamehameha hate powers, right, onto you, and so you can release that energy that I need to live and survive as a negative energy. See, I can't even say it. That's how I know I'm on it. These negative entities, all they want to do is survive, but it's not their place. They're not supposed to live here. Watch when the app comes out. All of this is going to be explained. I'm not going to have to explain it anymore. It's just going to be questions. Oh, how did you connect this to this? Yeah. So the next part of the reading is my favorite part because it's the thunder, the lightning, right? This is the star stream. So what is that? Experimentation, expression, integration, transcendence, and then ascendance. So I've given you the setting, the scene, the information, the perspectives everywhere in the mind. but now what can you do with it? I don't tell you what to do. I give you scenarios. I don't answer your questions. I give you forms that you translate within your life, and you can put your own, plan into it, right? So those are the two things I offer. So once you know those things, you can say, if I experiment with the card, right? If I express, if I integrate, if I transcend, and then I will ascend. And this is the place of evolution. This is the place of leveling up. Difference between leveling up and evolution is a Pidgey goes to level 16 and then it turns to Pidgeotto. That's the difference. So I like to do this one on the fly. Okay, this one started it off. Talisman. And experimentation. Shadow and expression. Like, courage, the lightning. I just mentioned it. It came out. So my favorite. Okay. Alright. And this. Nope. I want flippers. Okay. Meditate on transcendence. That's how you transcend it. Meditate came out somewhere over here. Meditate came out somewhere over here. And now I said that's how you release the energy. So meditate came out, and that's how you gain your space back. You release the energy, you release the water. Now you have space to breathe. Like, it's, oh man, I know y'all understanding this. So yeah. The last card, nope, I still want it. Flippers, is home. Yo. Wow. Sometimes when a card talks to you, you just gotta be quiet and listen. Alright, so for experimentation, we have talisman. I already know what it kind of is, so let's get it. The talisman represents new doors opening for you now. New pathways are present at this time. It also invites you to find and create or charge an appropriate symbol or amulet or mantra to help you support your current endeavors or healing. Empower this talisman with their intention. Everything is conscious. That's what I was saying before. Empower this talisman with your intention. Give it consciousness, right? To evoke its magic into your everyday life. Meditate with this card to act as a powerful road opener to a new adventure or opportunities to discover hidden talismans of power, love, and peace. Now, hidden talismans are different. These are the things that you didn't know that you planted that only required you to get rid of the emotion. It required a balanced sense of emotion. It required the energy from the potential, not emotion. So, okay, let me say this different. There are feelings that are the inside that you keep in, and then there are emotions that your spirit turns into potential, and then there are desires, and that condenses everything into the seed that I mentioned before. Alright, so the next up was expression, and this is your shadow. What is hiding in the dark? What is it that you're afraid of or don't want to see? This card comes to tell you that all cannot be in the light because there must be a balance. Exploring the beast requires you to confront those unhealed parts of yourself. Oh man. The observer effect, the double slit experiment effect, that thing that I just mentioned before, the fact that you can use your conscious thing to make something definite, this is your shadow. When you judge yourself harshly, it puts a focus on it, almost like a magnifying glass burning something, instead of just lighting it up and calmly becoming like the sunrise to yourself, like giving yourself some sunlight. You can be that sunlight instead of that magnifying burning glass. So figure out the way that you're talking to yourself, because it's your shadow. It's who you are. Your shadow is just a combination of baggage and feelings. So that's unhealed and unlearned lessons and emotion behind those. So yeah. The shadow or the hidden beast is not evil, just misunderstood. However, do tread carefully as you dive into sensitive territory. Humor, I just mentioned it before, scrolling, right? Humor, although not a solution, can help ease the growing pains of learning how to best work with and integrate your shadow aspect with compassion. So, laughing it off doesn't solve the problem, but it's one way to let the energy pass rightfully, like in a good way. But after it passes, you can use that potential for a plan instead of holding it as feelings inside of you and it destroying you from the inside. Right. So the next up is integration, and this is courage. You are being invited to summon your courage and take the next right action. Drawing this card can be nudging you to let go of any fears you are having and boldly move on ahead. Let go of the fears because of the talismans that you have. This is your moment to seize the day, live your dreams, and step forward with confidence. You can meditate on this symbol with a mantra or whenever you need a boost of encouragement. So, the encouragement, which is on the inside, in courage, right, comes from your selfness. Who you are motivates you at the end of the day. Who you're becoming. Who you believe you are. And you can be motivated to do the worst thing. So there's that. So next up in transcendence is meditate. Drawing this card asks you to create more stillness in your life. Utilize meditation, breathwork, and other gentle activities to relieve stress and bring more peace into your entire being. You may need a break from daily duties for clarity. Your current situation may be distracting you. Some more quiet time and less attachment are required. Meditate on this symbol or practice this mudra to feel a universal connection within every cell of your body. Oh, I'm forgetting his name right now, but he's a rapper, and he went conscious, and I listen to him all the time. He's the one who told me about the rock star analogy, saying rock star in your mind and not with your mouth, right? Not with your voice. KRS-One, thank you. He had another video recently, or I came into another video of his. He said, what happens first before somebody passes away or before somebody falls out or whatever, right? The first thing that happens, you lose breath or something like that, and you lose consciousness. So breath is consciousness, and breathing, there's another video, I'm gonna tie it to it. They said when you breathe in and out, you're saying Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. It's like, it's crazy. And that's how spiritual it is when it comes up to meditation and just breath work and things like that. That's what you're doing. You're communing with God and nothing in your mind. Empower your mind with nothing. Fill your mind with nothing to the best of your ability and breathe. And you will go into that Zen state. Oh man. Oh, I think I just figured out something. That's crazy. That made so much sense to me. I'm gonna have to listen to that. Alright. So last but not least is home. And this is in a place of and then I will ascend. Right? But this is a place of evolution. You evolve in your home, in your new foundation, with your new heart. This seems, I don't know why that was important. New heart. You are being guided to come back home to who you truly are. Drawing this card can signal a change in your physical home or sense of where you belong. Pulling this card also symbolizes that wherever or whatever your current situation, you can trust that this moment is in alignment with your higher self. See, that's the superconscious, the higher self, and the selfness, the one that you own, the one that you work with all the time and like the most, the one that you're most familiar with. You have not lost your way. You are in fact right on time and on track. Meditate on this symbol to access your higher power when having to make important decisions. You can also orient yourself north due to the morning star, and be assured that you will make the decision that is in alignment with your highest good. So, the fact that you are right on time, what does that breed? All that waiting, it breeds regret. And before over here, you're taking burdens, you're willing to take your own burdens. The burden of regret that you wasted time makes you move faster, makes you move with more force, not force, with more management. I said force before, but I meant force in a good way this time. So move with more power, I should say. Alright, so that was the end of the reading. And if you are still here, I appreciate you. Heavy. I would like to know what's on your mind. And I believe, like me, you are shy, because I feel like I call people who are like me to me. But I would like to see what you're thinking, because I do have a lot of views in some of my videos, but nobody comments. And I did realize, shout outs to the men, that I have more male viewers than females. And me, I'm thinking that, it's more females. I'm thinking it's more females, and I was like, wow. So the fact that I said that this is the masculine approach to tarot, and yeah, it's just more confirmation. But I would like to know what you are thinking, because, well, and this is a safe space. Don't even let them try it. I won't even know what I say. I promise you, it's not gonna be good if they come up with something bad. Yeah, it's either somebody gonna get to it before I do. I promise you. And I put that on everything. But yeah, if you like this content, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, knowing that this is going to be an app for the spiritual community, everybody who inhabits it, all practices of the spirit in general. We're all gonna be in this one place in this app. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be the biggest thing that the world ever seen in the next 100 years. And with your help, I can get there sooner. I would love for you to understand and see this soon. So, with all that said and done, I am here for perspective. And if you have a different perspective, the devil does not know who you are anymore. You are honestly a different person. You are honestly a different person. He doesn't know who you are. He has to learn you again. And now all your enemies have to operate with you in a certain way that is cautious. So, again, with all that said and done, I'm KyFy. Peace.